Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new, what's up? If you've been here and you've been kicking it with me since like 3 years ago when I used to make YouTube videos, hey, what's up again? Today, I really just want to share my story on how I quit my job in the middle of a pandemic, why I quit my job in the middle of a pandemic, and why you should do it too. To start off, let me just give y'all some background on my life before this job. So I recently just graduated college. So I graduated in May 2020. Before graduating, I was doing an internship. I was a healthcare management major. I was doing my internship at a hospital. All I had to do that semester was just go to my internship. It was a 40-hour working internship, unpaid, which I totally do not support. I was busting my butt because I really wanted to learn healthcare. I went into it thinking that this healthcare career is going to launch me into the healthcare field and be like the superhuman woman that I wanted to be in the world. I'm not only working that internship, but I'm also coming back to school or coming back home to having to work even more. I'm also an RA to a whole floor of underclassmen. It doesn't hit you what the real world is like until you're actually in the real world. Like, college is actually very sweet, but that hit me once I went to my internship. I really did enjoy it in my internship prior to COVID. I really saw myself being in the healthcare field, being in this hospital, working here, making an impact, because I kind of liked the work that I was doing. I was good at it. I liked the work because I was good at it. In that moment, it was like, okay, I'm good at it, so I believe that this is what I'm gonna do. So COVID hits, and I'm already working in a hospital. Only college students that hear this will know the struggle because the struggle was real. COVID really took everything that I thought was real and thought that I wanted to do with my life, and like the reality that I had built in my head for what my life was at that time, what my goals were, where I saw myself, how things were kind of gonna play out for me. It was like it was taken from me. There was a lot of chaos around that time. For majority of the time, up until my graduation, which was May 25th, I was living by myself in a building, pretty much. All of the residents and everybody that lived in the buildings had moved out and gone back home. I couldn't do that because I was still working at my internship, which I wouldn't have been able to work at or continue to work at if I moved back home. Moment that I'm kind of begging and praying to God that He lets me continue in this internship, because there was a point in time where even the internship was discontinued. The flow that I was in was completely disrupted, and I kind of had to figure out what my new flow was gonna be. In that time, my internship said that they were gonna hire me. I was given the opportunity to still go to my internship, but I was going to go to my internship without my college knowing. The loophole that was found was that I would get hired for it, right? Get paid, and I get to work at my internship. Everything that kind of seemed, it was in the background of all of this, all hell was breaking loose. Oh baby, that's why I said it's for a different time. Moral is really that even though life was kind of going nuts, I had this one thing to hold me down and like keep me stable, right? I'm also working at this internship in a real live pandemic. And I feel like it's not until in hindsight I've looked back at it and I'm like, I really was a superhero because only God, the department that I was in was completely about COVID. It's like we were the headquarters for the COVID operations of the whole hospital. That was what I was doing. Mind you, I'm sitting in there with everybody else. I'm like, why am I in this room? Sometimes I literally used to be there and just be like, am I supposed to be here? You think people know what they're doing until you know the people doing the things that you think they know what they're doing, and then you're like, they don't know what they're doing. The 40-hour internship that I used to work turned into a 60-hour internship out the cut. The healthcare system was swamped. Everybody needed to know. Nobody knew what this virus was, how you could catch it. It was a lot that even the people in healthcare had no idea how to handle. Reality check for me in particular, because I was like, this is the field I'm going into. There's no protocol. There's no procedure that's being streamlined effectively for everyone to feel safe and also do their jobs efficiently without breaking their backs for it. In school, we learn about that. We learn about disaster plans, COOP plans. And when I got there, especially in the emergency management department, I'm like, where is the organization? How was a pandemic or anything of this scale not anticipated in healthcare? Healthcare workers, first of all, deserve all their props, all their respects, and all their thanks, because I've seen what that is. And it's not easy at all. We're working 10 hours a day, 6 days a week. 10 hours a day, 6 days a week. I'm 21 years old. I haven't graduated college. I don't even have my degree for this. And on top of that, I'm not even getting paid yet. Eventually, like, I start to catch on that me getting paid is really kind of taking too long. I'm asking my manager, like, when is HR gonna reach out to me? When is this gonna happen? When is this gonna happen? And he was very, yeah, type thing. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna follow up on that. Very dismissive, but I hear you type way. Within like a week of me coming back to this internship and just seeing how much of a mess everything was, I was like, oh no, I need to be paid for this. At that moment in time, I put my full trust in him. You're supposed to be a leader that exemplifies what I want to be in healthcare. I'm looking up to you at this point. I finally get onboarded about like 2 weeks or some change after me coming back. I'm getting paid my 18, 19, however much it was an hour. And I'm like, okay, this is sweet. As I was being paid as an intern, I was hourly. I wasn't a salaried employee. And because I was hourly, I was gonna get paid, I could get paid overtime. So I was like, all right, I could come in on the weekend. I could come in on Sunday, Saturday, Monday. It's a pandemic. I don't got nothing else to do. Let me just go work. Let me just be useful. Things that I didn't see at first sight before started to take a left turn once I kind of got to around graduation-ish time, which was towards the end of my internship. I get offered 50K salary, and I'm like, okay, this is great. I get hired full-time, and now I switch over to salaried employees. Here, if you were a salaried employee, you were just getting paid your salary and not a penny more. Once I switched over to salary, my perspective on it completely switched, and I was like, this is like modern day slavery. Number one, you're underpaying employees that are working during a pandemic. People are putting their lives on the line for this. I find out through other employees, through the grapevine, that this type of stuff is normal here. The mistreatment, the disrespect, the overlooking of employees is a normal thing. It hadn't been this dramatic, or it hadn't been this obvious until the pandemic. Me coming in as a newcomer into this job, I'm wondering, why do people still work here? We couldn't pick our schedule and do none of that. It was like, this is the time that you can have, and this is the time. We couldn't even switch it with other employees if it didn't work for us. It was like every power that I had in that job, it was like I didn't really have power at all. Comments were even made that we were replaceable employees, and that there's a lot of people looking for jobs, and that if we wanted to quit because we were being mistreated or complaining or whatever, that we would just get replaced for it. I wish you would, because you can't find anybody better than me. The work environment that I was in was so toxic, so corrupt, so just the power dynamic was insane. Nobody really cares about you. I know that that's not how the world is in all corporate areas or all corporate arenas, but in this case, in my particular situation, I saw what people live in every day. I can't even voice my concerns because I've been told that voicing my concerns will lead me to be retaliated against. I can't even say what I want to say, speak up and do what I want to do, because, oh, if I say this, when I quit or if I go to a different hospital and work there, that I'll be blacklisted for it. What type of nonsense is this? How am I being threatened by these people? Truly, like, I'm like, who do you think you are? And why do you think that you have control over my career? That's when I really had to make the decision of, am I gonna leave or am I gonna stay? I started applying to hella healthcare jobs. I'm applying, nothing. I'm like, how do y'all not wanna hire me in the middle of a pandemic? I'm on Indeed, right? I'm on Indeed scrolling for jobs. And I come across a listing for life coaching. I'm like, this sounds nice. So I read the description of it and I'm like, this sounds like a job that I could do and be a boss at. All of the skills matched exactly what I did as being an RA, being a mentor, and just being who I was in leadership positions prior to this. I was like, I qualify for this job 110%. I want to do this and like, this sounds fun and it sounds like it would fit me, but it's like imposter syndrome kind of kicks in and you're like, but maybe I really can't do that. The job actually paid more than the job that I had now. Still working in the hospital, still living my ishy life, still being mistreated, still hearing this, that, and the third. And I'm waiting to hear about this life coaching job. So I even called them. I called them and she's like, you have to do that. You have to put in the application or whatever on the website. Put in the application, never hear back. I'm like, okay, I guess this just wasn't meant to be for me. Let me just stay in my job. I'm like, I'm not gonna quit this job and then look for a job. I have to get a job while I'm still in this job because I refuse to go broke. It's like the longer I started staying there, the more restless I became. Like, it's like, I couldn't really stay there for much longer. And my anger and my resentment towards the organization, towards the people that were working there began to grow. And I really just hated my life at that point. Where I was mistaken there was that I always had choice. If I wanted to leave that job at that exact moment, that I could. And that if I wanted to stay, that I could. My circumstances and what I could see with my physical eyes was that I could not do it. It would make no sense for me to leave this job with no other option, no other outlook. I still have rent to pay. I still have bills to pay. I'm moving into a new apartment at some point during this time. And I'm like, oh my God, my rent is going up too. And I'm like, it doesn't make sense tangibly, logically to do this. At this point, I'm moving more into my spirituality because I'm trying to get myself out of this dark place. I also forgot to mention that this is COVID and all of that happening with my job prior to this internship, prior to all of this, is when my spiritual awakening began. I'm kind of starting to understand that my purpose in this is to choose myself. All the signs that God was sending me, all of the things that I was seeing, the synchronicities that I was experiencing, really just living my life and putting my faith in God, I was like, this is not where I'm supposed to be. And I don't believe that I have to be here and stay here for me to find better. It really just kind of clicked for me. And God showed me that obviously I'm gonna be afraid. And at first, everybody thought I was crazy. I was telling my parents, I was telling my friends, like, how are you gonna quit? How are you gonna quit? I fed into all of that for a while and I saw that I was suffering from that. I'm like, why am I listening to everybody telling me that I can't do this? It really set in for me that I don't want to be told what to do. Like, I don't care if this is what you say I have to do. I don't care if this is how they say it works the best, or if that's the best option, that I have to get a job before I quit one, that I have to have a solid plan before I quit one. It's like, who made these rules and why do I have to follow them? I'm starting to piece together the puzzle. I'm hearing God in this ear like, nah, quit this job. Everything is proving it to me. So I just take the leap one day. And I'm like, you know what? This place doesn't serve me. It's not where I need to be. So what do? I just decided one day to leave. My idea of going into this job, going into the healthcare field, going into living my life is really to make my impact, to leave my mark on the world in a positive light, to do what God wants me to do on this earth, to fulfill my soul's mission. And my job on this earth is not to sit here and struggle and suffer. All of these systems and structures and rules and everything that that were placed upon me or that I was conditioned with were not conducive for the life that I wanted to live. Everything that I was told is how everything is supposed to work wasn't working. I didn't want to buy the narrative that I had to stay in my job because I needed money. I don't believe in that. I still don't believe in that. I never will believe in that. It doesn't matter if it's a relationship. It doesn't matter if it's a job. Anywhere that you are at that does not serve you, you don't have to be there. That's where I kind of have to step in and be like, where is everybody's faith at? It's like we believe in God and we believe in these beautiful things that the universe has to offer us. We know that we're here to live abundantly. The goal is always to live abundantly, but nobody is doing that. And it also started to click in, if nobody is doing that, that's telling me to do this, why am I listening to them? I was reading a lot. Like, this is when I really started to get into spirituality. Like, I was reading books by the daily because I needed to find my escape from this reality that everybody else tried to create for me. Through exploring God on my own, through exploring my spirituality, I realized that a lot of the conditioning from even past religious beliefs, from past school systems, from relationships and things like that, upbringing, childhood, family things, all of that was what was causing me to live and think that I needed to be in scarcity mindset or to live in fear. Because all of that in spiritual truth, it doesn't exist. Scarcity and all of these things, it's not real. It's what you're assuming it to be. You think that you can't do it, so you don't. At a certain point, you really just ask yourself, why? Why? Why do I believe this? Why is this true? And it's from asking all of those questions that made me say, okay, let me think a little bigger. Let me stop seeing from my physical eyes and what I think is true and start reshaping what even I think. Because it's what you think that you become. It's how you think. It's like if I'm thinking that I'm gonna be broke if I quit this job, that equals I'm going to be broke when I quit this job. It's like I've already spoken my reality. Hope is not the same as believing. There's a difference between wishing for something and knowing that it's true, knowing that it's yours, and knowing that you will have it. The moral of this whole video and why I'm even sharing my story and my testimony is to empower and to inspire y'all to do better for yourselves. Really, truly. My life has transformed completely since I quit my job, and it's like nothing has really changed, but the way that I view the world and my beliefs and the thoughts that I'm creating for myself, not the thoughts that church told me, not the thoughts that my friends think, not the thoughts that my parents have told me, but really, what does Yebi think? What does Yebi believe? If I don't believe that and that doesn't make me feel good, I'm not going to take it with me into my life. You can believe what you want to believe and you can act accordingly, and I can do the same. I had the power to make my own decisions. And I didn't have to feel trapped and conformed to society, to the world, to my parents, to my friends, to anything. I could finally step into a place where I wanted to be happy, truly. And not the way that I thought I would be happy, but in the way that I know would make me happy. It's by doing what I know I'm good at, which I've been able to discover as I've gone along my journey, ever since COVID, ever since my whole spiritual awakening, and seeing the truth, actually using what my third eye is and seeing with my spiritual eyes, seeing things from a different perspective. People don't think changing their mind is okay. And it's like, why do you think that changing your mind is not okay? Because so-and-so told you so? Because you saw so-and-so go through that? So-and-so is not me. Whatever someone else's experience is with whatever it was is not my experience. I was like, I don't have to do anything that anybody else is telling me to do, and I can really just do what I want. I can be abundant from it because I know that God will give it to me, because I am choosing myself. The whole foundational principle in the video, in life, in everything that I want to use my platform and how I live my life to exemplify is that if I choose myself, I will succeed and be abundant no matter what I do. literally. And it all begins by what you think and what you believe about yourself, what you think and what you believe about your life. You can't have everything you want by not putting in the work. And people think that the work is the work that you do to get an education, the work that you do to grind super hard and make ends meet and do this. I want to debunk that completely. I don't believe that you have to work hard to have nice things or to live the life that you want. I'm kind of showing the before God does what he does. Like, I've done all of the pre-steps, I've done the inner work, I've done the healing, I've fought my innerhood child traumas, I've done the work on loving myself, knowing my worth, knowing that I'm deserving of nice things. And now it's kind of like, okay, God, let me put it into practice and let me show other people that they can do the same thing. The reason why I believe what I believe and the way that I move is the way that I move is because I really do know God. And not the God that they told me growing up in church, not the God that my friends believe in, or the God that my mom and dad are trying to make me know. It's the God that I know is within me. It's the God that I believe in, the God that works for me. And you can build a unique relationship with that God in the way that works for you. It doesn't have to be the same way it works for so-and-so and your friend from down the street and your boss and your mom. They can all believe freely and choose to do whatever they want. And the amazing thing about life is that you can also do the same. My mission and my purpose that God has made so clear for me is that I need to live my life authentically, knowing my worth, knowing what I deserve, and speaking my truth so that I can also encourage other people to do the same. I'm super excited because I know that this is what God's will is for my life. And I'm super excited to not only work with the people that I'm gonna work with, but also be able to leave my impact and still make billions and billions and billions of dollars. I'm gonna win, and so is everybody else on my team. It's really that simple. So with that being said, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I really hope that I was able to speak life into you so that you could see what God can do through my circumstance, and to show you that you don't have to live the life you think that you have to live, and that the life that you think is like your wildest dream can come true. I'm gonna be making more videos soon. I'm also gonna leave in the box down below my new Instagram page that I'm also starting on this journey. Just kind of starting fresh in my life. I just kind of wanna rebuild something that's my own, originally and authentically just me. Leave me some love, leave me something about your situation, tell me what's going on with you, and if you need some inspiration or help, you can definitely hit me. I'll definitely try to respond and give insight to as many people as I can, and really that's all it is. So with that being said, I'm glad that you were able to receive this good news, and I hope that I see you guys in my next video.